The streets didn't just look empty, they looked like they were rejecting him. Because when Prince Harry lifted that royal wave, there was nobody there to catch it. And suddenly, the whole world could see the one thing he can't sue his way out of: public silence. So let's talk about this humiliation the cameras captured like a perfect little dagger. Picture it, London. Cold air. Traffic rushing past like it's late for something more important than a prince's feelings. And there he is, Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, self-declared warrior against the press, stepping up outside the royal courts of justice like he's about to reclaim his story, except the story is already reclaiming him. Because he turns. He does what he's been trained to do since he could walk in polished shoes. He raises his hand. The wave. The practiced, polite, automatic wave. And the wave lands on nothing. No crowds, no cheering, no "we love you, Harry," no banners, no sympathetic faces. Just empty pavement and a couple tourists blinking like, wait, is that? And if you don't understand why that moment hit like a slap, let me spell it out. That wave used to be a currency. It used to summon people. It used to bring noise. It used to mean he was wanted. But this time, it was a prince waving at the void, and the void didn't wave back. And then, like the universe has a savage sense of humor, he walks inside to fight the Daily Mail's publisher, Associated Newspapers. A legal war meant to prove he was violated, hunted, spied on, hacked, surveilled, and yet outside, the biggest attack wasn't the press. It was the public's indifference. Now here's where it gets deliciously messy, because the whispers say there was a reason Meghan didn't want him going to war with the Daily Mail like this. Not because she doesn't love a good battle, please, but because this case drags up the one chapter that still makes people pause and go, wait, her? Chelsea Davy. Yes, that Chelsea, the one he once imagined as his future queen. The one whose name still has a strange softness around it whenever his past gets discussed. And suddenly, the courtroom isn't just a courtroom. It's a time machine with teeth. Because as his lawyer starts laying it out, phone hacking, illicit surveillance, private messages stolen like little trophies, the story turns into something way more personal than Prince versus tabloids. It becomes Harry reliving the relationship he lost, publicly, in a wood-paneled room where every breath is loud enough to feel judged. They're talking about Chelsea's phone being treated like a buffet, voice messages intercepted, private quarrels turned into headlines, her father's estate allegedly under surveillance, a relationship described as the most real, the most unguarded, slowly getting strangled by intrusion until it couldn't breathe anymore. And Harry sits there, 41 now, with that controlled expression, that I am fine face that never quite convinces. Observers clock the jaw clench when the salacious bits get read out loud, because it's one thing to say, the press ruined my life. It's another thing to listen while they recite the details of your stolen youth like it's community theater. And you know what's brutal? The courtroom isn't just hearing about what the tabloids did. It's watching what Harry becomes when he's forced to admit that the great love story he didn't end up living might have been burned down by the very machine he now can't stop fighting. But oh, don't think the defense is just sitting there politely taking notes. Because Associated Newspapers is ready to twist the knife in the most chilling way by saying Harry's relationship with the media was never pure, that he used it when it worked for him, that he courted coverage when it suited the image, and that this victim narrative is now part grief, part strategy, a storyline he can monetize through interviews, docuseries, memoirs, and yes, lawsuits. And suddenly that empty street outside becomes Exhibit A in the gossip court of public opinion. Because what does it look like? It looks like a man demanding the world's sympathy, while the world quietly scrolls past. It looks like he's fighting for justice in court while losing the crowd outside without anyone even bothering to boo. And you know what's even colder? The royal family wasn't there. No big show. No united front. No we support him. No reassuring presence. The so-called Fab Four era is a fossil. The nation he left, it's not sobbing into a Union Jack over his pain. And that's where the resentment creeps in, because the silence isn't just boredom, it's accusation. A lot of people in Britain don't just think, oh, Harry's annoying now. They think he tried to burn the house down after he moved out. They think the Netflix deals and Spotify money weren't about privacy, they were about profit. They think Oprah, the docuseries Spare, weren't healing. They were a carefully timed bombardment aimed right at the heart of the institution. And yes, when the accusations of racism hit global screens without names or proof offered publicly, many didn't hear pain. They heard you're branding the UK as rotten. They saw private family arguments turned into content, ancient customs mocked, the Prince of Wales painted as the villain, the king framed as neglectful. And they didn't call it honesty, they called it betrayal. And betrayal is one thing Britain does not forgive quickly. So when Harry walks into court saying, I was violated, humiliated, a huge chunk of the public is thinking, and what about what you did to them? And that's why the empty street moment matters so much. Because if people were still emotionally invested, they'd show up, even to jeer. But they didn't. They just didn't come. No love, no hate, just nothing. And nothing is the most terrifying verdict of all. By the end of the day, he leaves through a side entrance, briefcase in hand, not a ceremonial sword, not a triumphant stride, just the quiet practicality of litigation grinding forward. The waving stops. The performance ends. Reality resumes. But the image is already everywhere. A prince offering a royal gesture to empty London air, like he forgot he isn't surrounded by that old world anymore. And here's the gossip twist that makes it sting. The courtroom is where he's trying to win the narrative, but the sidewalk is where the narrative is winning him, because the case may continue. But the silence has already spoken. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud, but everyone is thinking it. This case isn't really about phone hacking anymore. It's about relevance. Because while Harry is inside those walls fighting ghosts from the 2000s, the world outside has already moved on. The monarchy didn't collapse. The tabloids didn't crumble. The machine he swore he'd expose, it adapted. It always does. And Harry, he's stuck in rewind. Every time his lawyers bring up old voicemails, stolen messages, broken trust, the question hanging in the air isn't, was this wrong? Because yes, it was. The real question is, why now? Why drag Chelsea's name back into the spotlight years later? Why reopen scars that already healed without him? Why keep proving over and over that the happiest version of Prince Harry existed before Meghan, before California, before the exile? That's the quiet cruelty of this trial. It reminds people of the Harry they once rooted for and forces them to compare him to the man he is now. And the comparison isn't kind, because today's Harry doesn't look free. He looks angry, defensive, permanently braced for impact, like a man who escaped the cage but can't stop shaking the bars. Even his body language betrays it, the stiff posture, the guarded expressions, the way he listens like he's waiting to be attacked. This isn't a man finding peace. This is a man still at war. And while he fights, Meghan stays far away from London. That detail, not lost on anyone. No courtroom support, no public statement, no standing by my husband moment, just distance. Because this battle isn't good for the brand. And yes, brand, let's stop pretending. Harry's lawsuits, interviews, and memoir didn't just tell his story. They monetized it. And now, standing alone outside a courtroom with no crowd, no cheers, no outrage, the illusion cracks, because public sympathy is a fragile thing. Once people feel manipulated by it, they don't argue, they disengage. And disengagement is exactly what those empty streets screamed. No outrage, no pity, no loyalty, just a former prince waving at a past that no longer answers back. This trial might end with a legal win. It might expose wrongdoing. It might even earn him damages. But here's the brutal truth gossip never lies about. You can win in court and still lose the crowd. And Harry, he's already lost the crowd. That wave wasn't ignored. It was dismissed.